So with Bluelock chapter 345 officially out, we need to predict how this game will finish and who will be the goal scorer to finish off this game. As we are in additional time, we only have 2 minutes left, and considering the other two games go into additional time with a minute left being Nigeria, that ended the chapter after, and Isagi's goal happened in that game, and in the exhibition game it was 2 chapters, and considering the gravity of the France game is bigger than Nigeria's game, there's a really good chance we get more than 1 chapter. Since it's 2 minutes, which means realistically we could get maximum 3 to 4 chapters for this game to end off, which means at least a good ending for chapter 350 to start side B, since that is during Kira's volume cover. And if the final goal happens at 348, at least 349 to be a debrief / aftermath chapter. And the pacing of this arc was to have a bit of side B after the Nigeria game, so I'm sure we're going to get some more after the France game as well. So now let's get into the actual 6 people with a chance of scoring. 6th place we have Barou. Barou has already scored in this game, but you can never count him out to score again. He could always try to devour Isagi or even destroyer mode win, but considering that he has already scored, kinda sure wouldn't want to give him another goal, as he has no narrative reason to or build up for the goal. And while Croc might cream his pants for a second goal, I doubt it happens. 5th place we have Rensuke Kunigami. Although he is being narratively used as a defensive midfielder for this game and doing a pretty damn good job at it, he is also still one of Bluelock's best strikers, thanks to the wildcard training and making him close to a Noah 2.0. It would be a waste if he didn't get any striker moments. However, this persona of being an edgy and emo guy isn't him. The true Kunigami is a hero, and while he was a hero by stopping Loki from scoring earlier, a superhero is the one who saves the day in a climatic ending. So imagine if Kunigami's return to superheroism through saving Japan in this game and scoring in the final minute. That would be epic. His training was revealed in chapter 340, and Ego said it would be useful for a striker, so we have yet to see it come forth for his striker abilities, and it's only been shown for his CDM skill sets, especially whenever Isagi needs a piece to assist to when he doesn't have a system or is having like an awakening, like after he figures something out or isn't able to figure something out, aka the first selection at NEL where he didn't have a system to support him and had to build it from the ground up, so he had to assist Kunigami to start that rebellion to building his own system in both of those circumstances. And with this game having Karasu controlling Bluelock, Kunigami could be the first piece Isagi can use to bring back Bluelock to his will. However, realistically it's not going to happen, as there was no build up for a Kunigami goal. Ever since Noah and Ego gave him the command to be a CDM, he hasn't taken a single shot. I think Chigiri will be the one to change that and save him in the England game, if I'm being honest, and make him finally score a goal. But in this game, I just don't see it happening. He definitely has a chance. It isn't 100% impossible. I just don't see it happening in this game. 4th place, we have Ryusei Shido. Shido came into this game with an insane amount of built-up hype, with Charles glazing his boy before the game even started, stating that without Shido, they were going to lose badly without him. So that meant a lot of tension and pressure was on Shido to deliver. Ego brought in his double Joker team up. Shido hasn't really gotten to do much, just linking up with Karasu's triangle system and doing that dribble through Delon and Camus. He hasn't shown his training flashbacks, so it means he has potential to score later and actually show off what it was. And considering the only games he realistically can score in is France, Brazil, thanks to Itoshi Sai, maybe Spain as well, and the quarterfinals. I just don't see him scoring against Germany if they make it to Germany, and I just don't see Isagi versus Kaiser being downplayed by anyone else. Just like how Isagi versus Kaiser versus Ren was the center point of that game in Baston München versus PXG, I see the same thing happening in the Isagi versus Germany game. I think it'll be just those two as the center course. And I think if Japan actually beat Germany and Japan versus France happened in the final, it could lead to a Shido. But in that game, I honestly believe it's going to be the strongest scoring, not the Hiyori type of people scoring. So yeah, he realistically doesn't have many chances to score left. So yeah, the way Shido could score here is by an assist by Isagi. He is not scoring a solo goal against France, although he has shown better dribbling feats by getting through those two players I mentioned earlier. And to score with Charles on him would be really hard, as Charles is marking him. Unless Isagi and Hiyori really shakes things up in the next chapter, Shido and Barou are still marked, so they can't do anything unless that happens. But knowing Shido, he is good at shaking off his markers through anyways, so he has a good chance of getting off of Charles and scoring from an Isagi assist. It would make sense, as in every arc Isagi was in control of his system, he did need. As previously stated, he has done it with Kunigami in the first selection and the NEL. In the second selection, he did it with Nagi, and in the third, he did it with Shido. Now, with Karasu's system, he does need to get a new player. Maybe Shido could be that player. And also, this is giving chapter 184 vibes, so I doubt Isagi is scoring that goal. Third place is actually Toshi. Toshi versus Julian Loki was one of the most hyped up inverse media topics for the U20 World Cup. So having Rin not as Bluelock's beast is just insane, especially with him doing nothing against France. This is his worst game we have seen from him due to Isagi being in a dull phase. It limited Rin's performance as he relies on Isagi's restriction to make him go, and now that he abandoned him, it's left him all alone. The ultimate restriction that will bring the beast out of him is sure to come. But if Rin doesn't score, that panel would all be for nothing and would just be like a plot device for Isagi to devour the #1 striker, which we'll get into later. And with the narrative I think is about to happen, Rin is in for a bad streak of chapters and games, as he will lose his goal scoring streak. He will also probably get a red card if he unleashes his beast mode against England, since that will be a more brutal group stage game due to their physical prowess and rushing abilities. I believe Rin is going to go full crash mode in this match, leading him to get a red card, which makes perfect sense, as he would miss the Brazil game where the other strikers could get some love, and that will be the game where the brats at a free can get some shine, mainly Toshi and Nagi. And this would mean Rin and Sai wouldn't play with each other until the Spain game, making it the first game the Itoshi bros play together in like 4 to 5 years. So while he has more of a narrative chance to score considering what his destroyer mode does late in the game, it could really create some intense action scenes that I would be so here for. We haven't gotten anything like that since like chapter 147. However, in order to bring Rin to his absolute 0 point again before the Spain game, I can see this game being the start of his mini downfall. I predicted it in a previous video about Rin. It was a pretty good, highly suggest you watch it later. However, one last thing about Rin, he isn't the absolute fraud of this game. He still cooked Loki by nutmegging him and getting a shot past him, which is no easy feat. While Hugo was able to stop it, it's just because Japan has been really condensed and pressed because they've been running the Isagi system. And because Rin is so reliant on his restriction, it meant he had to go down as well. Rin had an open chance during the corner kick as well, but because Isagi refused to give him the ball, he couldn't do anything. He went for his own shot, and got it stopped by Renoir, which Renoir had no NEL feats. So this being his first feat meant that was really dumb from Isagi. Rin relying on Isagi's restriction still to this day made sense, even though Barou adapted, because in the bathroom scene, he says he will rely on Isagi's restriction as the Demon King until he meets his older brother in the bathroom scene. So it means when he meets Sai, my previous video may actually come in clutch to depict that Rin is going to have another explosion, or this could be the time where Rin actually finally calms down and settles down his destroyer craziness. So in football, if you're not being fed the ball by your teammates, obviously you're going to be in a ghosted situation, which Rin is now. Second place, Yoichi Isagi. He had the final panel, which was enough to show that he is pretty much going to score. From heading into it, feeling the chills of everything going his way, so he is trying to avoid what Nagi went through by not getting satisfied. The bathroom scene with Rin about having to be Rin's #1 so Rin can devour him as well. So it's terrifying to him how all that pressure comes with it. Isagi embodies Bluelock's philosophy perfectly, and in this match, someone challenges Isagi's ego by telling him about suitable destiny with the opposite ego of Ego Jinpachi's, being Vivian Hugo. It really made Isagi make irrational judgments, like I told you how he could have assisted Rin, but he didn't because he was in an irrational mindset because of Hugo. He also even lost an argument to Karasu, but he finally overcame all that in the recent chapters, understanding his ego finally, which isn't to be #1 or 2, but to devour the current #1, which leads to why it makes more sense for Isagi to score. Because with Rin in his destroyer mode, he is going to be the new #1 for Bluelock, which means if Isagi can can devour him the same way Barou devoured Shido. It could give him all the confidence he needs and all the built up tension to finally explode with a goal. Shido would be proud. First placed, Julian Loki. Now I'm going to be quick with Loki on this one. Now Loki from before this game was hinted that he was going to score against Isagi and ask him if he was just happened to be born fast, which hasn't happened yet. While we still could see a solo goal, there's a good chance it doesn't happen, as we have already been hinted to Loki X Charles on several occasions since the NEL, as is Loki's way to defeat Noah to become the world's #1 striker. However, either one of these two situations would work, and considering that the Loki X Charles one is being built up still in this game at halftime, where he asks Charles to give him some more wicked passes before the game ends, the last thing we see in the chapter isn't Isagi this time but Hugo. Manga is from right to left, which means the final person is on the bottom left, being Hugo. And he has a special eye, which I haven't gotten a name for yet, but it means pretty bad news, and he got some serious cards to play, especially with Hiyori being right above him, who has hesitated in 2 key moments in this game, and that is a trait that was prevalent in his Uber's game as well. So I think Hugo will stop Hiyori x Isagi's awakening and send a mean ball to Charles, who will assist Loki, finally giving us one of the nastiest chemical reactions in the franchise. I swear, if Hiyori pulls a Ness and passes it to Karasu, a controller is getting broken, bro. Now what would be my favorite scenario is if Isagi or whoever from Japan scores, but like from Kuroko no Basket's Seirin vs Kaijo semi-final game, when Japan scores, France goes all out with like 30 seconds with Japan's guard kind of off from just scoring. Charles would assist Loki immediately using the best of their 2 skill sets, being Charles' insane fast passes, contrarian style, and Loki's pure speed, to give them the game-winning goal to end the game 3-4. This gives Japan one more goal, but also saves the integrity of the U20 World Cup for me. This may be a me thing, but having Japan draw to the strongest team, France, means the rest of the team shouldn't be much of a threat like them. Since France beat England, Japan would be expected to beat England as well. I know other teams could still shock Japan, as that's how football is, teams shock each other, but still, this is a battle shonen. If you're as good as the champions, that means the rest of the games aren't going to be as insanely hard as you may think it would be, and that would lose the intrigue of the World Cup for me. So now it's up to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, join the Discord and YouTube membership, and on to the next video. Stay blessed, Suki out.